St. Agnes Hospital, a once thriving medical institution in the heart of the city, had fallen into disrepair after being abandoned for years. Its imposing facade, now faded and weathered, bore witness to countless births, surgeries, and deaths. But it was the latter that had left an indelible mark on the hospital, a legacy of restless spirits and eerie occurrences that kept even the bravest of urban explorers at bay. The story began in the late 1960s when St. Agnes Hospital was at the peak of its operation. Dr. Jonathan Harrow, a renowned surgeon, was known for his groundbreaking procedures and unwavering dedication to his patients. He was respected by his colleagues and adored by his patients, earning him the nickname the Healing Hands. However, beneath his veneer of professionalism and compassion, Dr. Harrow harbored a dark secret. He was obsessed with achieving medical feats that were considered impossible. He conducted a series of experimental surgeries in the hospital's underground laboratories, away from the prying eyes of the medical community. Patients who underwent these secretive procedures often emerged changed, physically and mentally scarred, with no memory of what had transpired. Some vanished altogether, their names struck from the hospital's records as if they had never existed. Rumors swirled about the mysterious surgeries, and nurses whispered about the cries and pleas that echoed through the hospital's halls at night. Patients who spent time on the top floor, known as the Wing of Lost Souls, reported sightings of shadowy figures and strange apparitions. The hospital's reputation deteriorated, and eventually, it was forced to close its doors amid scandal and lawsuits. Dr. Harrow disappeared, leaving behind a legacy of horror and unanswered questions. Years passed, and St. Agnes Hospital became a derelict shell, a place of urban legends and ghost stories. Many claimed to have heard the anguished cries of the patients who had suffered under Dr. Harrow's care, and some swore they had seen apparitions wandering the hallways. It was into this haunted abyss that a group of urban explorers, led by Sarah, ventured one fateful night. Armed with cameras and flashlights, they were determined to uncover the truth behind the hospital's dark history. As they stepped through the shattered entrance, a bone-chilling wind swept through the lobby, extinguishing their flashlights. Sarah hesitated but urged her friends to press on. She was driven by a desire to document the paranormal and perhaps put the restless spirits to rest. Their journey through the hospital was a descent into madness. The walls were covered in a sickly, peeling wallpaper, and the floors creaked with every step. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and antiseptic. It was as if the hospital itself had absorbed the suffering of its patients. As they ventured deeper into the hospital, they began to hear faint, ghostly whispers, voices barely audible, but filled with anguish. The explorers exchanged nervous glances but pushed forward, determined to capture evidence of the supernatural. In a dimly lit hallway, they encountered their first apparition, a figure clad in a tattered hospital gown, its face obscured by shadows. The figure beckoned them with a ghostly hand before vanishing into thin air. Despite their fear, Sarah and her friends continued their exploration, their cameras capturing orbs of light, unexplained shadows, and eerie noises that echoed through the corridors. They had no doubt that the hospital was indeed haunted by the tormented souls of its past. Their journey reached its climax when they entered the Wing of Lost Souls. It was a place frozen in time, with rusted gurneys, broken wheelchairs, and remnants of restraints still in place. It was here that they encountered the most malevolent presence yet, a spectral figure that materialized before them, its eyes filled with rage and sorrow. Sarah, driven by a mixture of fear and compassion, attempted to communicate with the spirit. She asked who it was and what had brought it to this cursed place. In response, the spirit's form flickered, and a chilling, disembodied voice spoke through the darkness. "I am one of Dr. Harrow's lost experiments," it moaned. "Trapped between life and death, cursed to wander these halls for eternity." The spirit's tale was one of suffering and betrayal, a patient who had been promised a cure but had become a victim of the doctor's twisted experiments. The memories of the torturous procedures and the feeling of helplessness had bound the spirit to the hospital, unable to find peace. Touched by the spirit's plight, Sarah and her friends decided to conduct a paranormal investigation unlike any other. They sought to help the lost souls find closure and put an end to the hoax.